This video wants to highlight that climate change is an issue needing action now. This video also serves to showcase ways to reduce your carbon footprint. This is in order to stop devastating and unequal effects that will continue to occur if we don't stop climate change now. I want to point out that the effects of climate change are human-induced. We all have made an impact on climate change and will continue to do so, but we have the choice to help the problem or sit back and do nothing. Now we will investigate what climate change looks like to different parts of the world. Recent news by the Washington Post writes about floods in Pakistan. This flood is said to be one of the worst flooding in more than a decade, causing 1 million homes, farming, and agriculture to be destroyed and displacing hundreds of people. The flood has also killed nearly 1,500 people, and according to the Washington Post, climate change probably intensified the rain by 15 to 75%. It is important to add that Pakistan doesn't contribute much to the effects of the fossil fuel emissions that are increasing climate change levels. According to a New York Times article, historically and recently, it has always been the United States and other rich countries who have been responsible for CO2 emissions. However, the regions being most affected are those in the global south, such as Pakistan and Africa. Africa is another example on how bad climate change is affecting regional areas around the world. In a YouTube video by DW News, we can see real-life devastating effects of climate change. Northern Kenya has not seen rain in more than a year, causing a severe drought in the region. It is said that climate change is partly due to this. It is also recorded that 1 in 5 children are considered malnourished in the Kenyan region, and according to Immaculate Mutua, a county nutrition coordinator in the Kenyan region, there's a direct relationship between climate change and malnutrition. Mutua makes it clear that when climate change worsens, the conditions of Africa, such as malnutrition, worsen as well. Nathal writes, the severity of effects caused by climate change will depend on the path of future human activities. More greenhouse gas emissions will lead to more climate extremes and widespread damaging effects across our planet. However, those future effects depend on the total amount of carbon dioxide we emit. So if we can reduce emissions, we may avoid some of the worst effects. You may ask yourself how you can take action. You can do this by following the method of reduce, reuse, and recycle. Ways to reuse is by donating your clothes to a charity or a local thrift store. We want to limit clothing going to the landfill and lengthen the time items end up in the landfill. You can also reuse by repurposing items such as old clothing and glass containers. You can use old glass containers, decorate them, and store plants in them. Another question you may ask is how you can reduce. Ways you can reduce is by limiting your use of single-use disposable plastics that can end up in oceans and bodies of water. We can also switch to renewable energy by changing the types of light bulbs we use to energy-efficient ones. We can also add solar panels, if we can, to our homes and businesses. We can also eat less meat, which helps because the meat industry is a major source of greenhouse gas emissions. We can also drive less and all use our bicycles more, which would emit zero gas emissions. We can reduce our water use by stopping unnecessary water use like faucet leaks, and wash our clothing less and limit unnecessary washing. Also, you can start supporting local farmers markets near you, which make sure to minimize the amount of waste and pollution they create. A final way you can help climate change decrease is by recycling. We can do so by composting our food. We can put our biodegradable items in a soil bin and use the soil to grow our plants. We can also make sure to recycle properly by cleaning the containers and boxes we are about to recycle. Many people believe that we can throw away our dirty and greasy containers in cardboard boxes and they will be recycled. However, many recycled items need to be cleaned of residue in order to be recycled. You can also recycle by buying materials made from recycled material. You can buy recycled paper materials such as notebooks and books from recycled paper. You can also place recycle bins everywhere to make sure everyone else is recycling as well. It is important to act now, or we as privileged Americans will soon see the devastating effects climate change can do. It isn't enough to educate yourself on these kinds of topics. However, it is important to implement what you preach and what you learn. If you watch this video and don't implement ways to reduce carbon emissions, then you are part of the problem. Climate change needs to be a focus on not only governments, but the people that inhabit these governments. And we all can teach everyone around us of what they individually can do to help climate change. It is up to you to seek change.